This is the Game Jesters Gaming Update Podcast. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about everything I've learned thus far about Fallout 76. Since I have quite a bit of information and I want to cram it in a small amount of time, I was just doing this podcast on my own. This is Bethesda's biggest game so far. The game world is going to be 4 times larger than the Fallout 4 world, and they need the large map due to the amount of players that will be playing the game. Yet, they won't all be crammed on the same exact map, so if you have 1 million people playing, they're not all going to be crammed together and you won't have people cluttering all over. There'll be a huge map, but not big enough to support that many people. So what they're doing is, they're not really classifying as an MMO of sorts. Instead, they're doing like shared worlds, much like Destiny game, with like floating servers and stuff, where you can jump between servers and you can call your friends into your server. So it'll ease up with a lot of the players and the lag and everything. It'll make it a lot smoother and easier to run. As everyone knows now, this game is going to be fully online, but there still will be a story. They're going to be focusing on the story base, and the story will follow the survivors of the people outside the vault when the bombs dropped. They mention that every human you encounter will be a player, leaving room for like feral ghouls, NPCs type of things. And they mention that the feral ghouls in this game aren't going to be fully like rotted out of their mind. So you'll see the descent kind of, where they're half crazy, half human yet, and you'll have interaction with them. So we're going to jump in now the gameplay elements, how the game plays out. So any long-time Fallout fan knows that the VAT system, how that works. And so we all know now, in an online game, you can't freeze time in this. So the VAT system is going to work in a real-time targeting system. It's no longer going to freeze everyone, so you have to be quick with it. And you'll be able to target and shoot, which is kind of neat. I'm interested to see how it'll play out. I can see it can be pretty good. I don't see many problems happening with that. And a big thing with all the big players that are coming in, they're going to try to put in a prevention for griefing. Death isn't going to be fully punishable in this game, meaning you won't lose your progress, you won't lose your inventory, and they added a blocker to stop players from following around killing players instantly by trying to, if a player repeatedly kills another player, they're going to get a bounty placed on their head, and all other players are going to be coming in to try to kill this one guy. So that's their kind of way to try and block griefing of other players, to make it more fun for everyone and less frustrating and annoying. And another thing we talked about with the griefing, the nukes. That was a big problem that everyone knows is going to be a big griefing problem. Everyone's farming the nukes and just launching nukes at each other and blowing everyone's base up. That's the biggest concern that I've seen everyone was talking about in this game. So they took a way to address this so the nukes they mentioned are going to be difficult to obtain. They're not going to be like slaying around, really easy to get. So it's going to be a big, long process to do. So once you do all of that work, there's another system they have where instead of launching at players, they have it set up marked areas on the map where if you nuke these designated spots, it'll turn into a radiation zone, spawning super mutants and death claws and other higher level enemies. And this is going to be how you acquire the endgame gear. You need to do these to go out there and farm out these high level enemies to get your good gear. So the difficulty of trying to go through and get the nuke, they're going to be weighing it off. Do you want to have fun with it and blow up another player, or try to get high level gear? And that's their way of trying to even it out. There still will be a lot of people just nuking other players for fun, but this might level it off. So PvP nuking might be less frequent as people think so far. Fallout 76 has been mentioned to be a survival game, which means they're going to have a hunger meter functioning in this game. And so you'll have to focus on getting food. A perk you can get is cooking, that you can cook up food, and if you level that skill up, we'll talk about the leveling right after this, but if you level your cooking up, you can get better cooking things where you can like eat something and it'll heal you more or make your hunger meter last longer. And there will be diseases added in this, so like eating like radiated water or rotten food or something, that will give you diseases. But there's also mutations that certain things will add. These mutations are going to give you different perks. So, and if you like the perk or if you hate the perk, there's ways you can go and get the mutation removed if you don't want the mutation, or you can get it added permanently so you always have that mutation perk for you. So the items and the food, the items will degrade and the food will rot over time. They're taking that from like the Fallout 3 kind of system that they had, where items break and you got to keep repairing. And with the leveling up system, you're going to get perk cards. That's what they're having in for this. So every time you level up, you'll select a perk card, which will give you a different ability. These will work for your party, so you can all work together. With the 4 of you, you can each build off of one another. So like you can have one person become the food maker, so everyone can eat all of their food. Make one person the medic to heal everyone. Make one person skilled with exploration, another good with combat, that type of thing. Another thing they mentioned before was, I found odd, their the map, the basing. You can build the base and you can pick it up and move it anywhere you want. I found that a little strange, because they said when you move to a different server, the base will come with you, or you can just pick your base up and drop it somewhere else. And I was thinking, well, if you go to a different server and there's already a base there, or another thing they said, when you log out and you log back, if you log out, your base isn't going to be there, so people can't come and destroy your base while you're gone. Once you're out, your base is safe. When you log back in, though, it'll spawn, and what if someone else had their base placed in that spot where your base was? I was confused when I first saw that at E3, wondering how they're going to address that. So they gave some news about that. Now, if you log out and you log back in, or you jump to a different server and there's another base on top of your base, it's going to take your base and bundle it up into a blueprint schematic, and they're going to give you the blueprint, and you can just drop your base anywhere you want. And that's how they're going to address that problem. I saw a few people were also wondering why West Virginia was selected as the origin map of Fallout 76. And it isn't just for them to get to use the catchy song that is now stuck in everyone's head. But West Virginia was picked as the location because they felt like it was a low nuke zone, like a low radiation zone, only facing the aftermath of the actual nuke zone that took place in Washington, D.C. That was the big city area that from Fallout 3 that we all know was the big ground zero for the nuke strike. So now West Virginia they see is small or rural towns that wouldn't really get nuked, so they're just facing the aftermath of the radiation waving into them. But so they picked this so the map can still be lively, meaning they can use like trees and things would be less dead. They can build the map up a little bit, and you can see now with the animals and everything will be suffering from the radiation that will give them free range to bring in new enemies with the mutation. And it gave them a lot of new enemies here. But it's not good if you're afraid of bugs, because a large portion of the new enemies are mutated and radiated bugs that are large and proportional. But there is a random sloth that you see roaming around, which is interesting. But they also pulled a lot of West Virginia, all of Virginia for folklore into making the story tales that play out and the things that you'll find and encounter and fight. Like there's the Grafton monster, which is a giant pale monster that roams the woods outside of Grafton. The Flatwood monster, the Mothman, and let's see, that was in the Point Pleasant area. And all of these, they drove around Virginia, finding these folklores, finding the towns, trying to model their maps off of the real towns, trying to make it as real as they could. They took real town names. You can see the map and see all the different spots in there. And a big problem that they addressed in an interview was they found all of these cool places scattered all around Virginia, but they only had a box map that they had to put them all in, and they were scattered far apart. So they had to make the map huge to address that problem as well, to fit all this stuff in there, all the different landmarks that they want to put in. So that's what I have so far. I'll have more information once the demo comes out and I can dive into the game and get a little more information. And anyone interested, if you pre-order the game, it'll come, when the demo comes online, you will get a code that'll allow you access to the demo. But I already have a few of us are going to be diving into the game with the demo, and if you're unsure if you want to get the game or if you want to pre-order it yet, you can subscribe here and keep an eye on my videos. And I'm going to have a bunch of Fallout 76 once the demo comes out, a lot of videos, new content, what's going on, and you can decide then. Or if you just want to watch us goof around and kill each other, that'll be fun times. But until the next video, guys, hope this is helpful.